Do you know what it means to be a motherless daughter? Did you know you can have mother loss without mother death? Mother loss comes in many forms, and Motherless Daughters Ministry is here to help you navigate through your particular mother loss. While you are unique, you are definitely not alone. We have 25 years worth of pearls of wisdom to help you on your mother loss journey, and we are sharing all of these pearls with you through this very podcast, Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience, sponsored lovingly by Motherless Daughters Ministry.
Hello, I'm Gladys Bell, your host. Today, we're talking about a heartfelt reflection on Mother's Day from someone who's navigating the holiday without her mom. She shares how the day brings both grief and gratitude as memories of her mother's love and guidance continue to shape her life. We'll explore the lessons her mom passed down, especially about parenting, discipline, and care, and how those still show up in her own family. It's an honest, relatable look at what it means to carry someone's influence forward, even after they're gone.
On Mother's Day, we remember. We are reminded, not that we ever really forget. Though our mothers are gone from our lives, much remains. For some, what's left behind is complicated and difficult, maybe traumatic. For others, beautiful memories of special times together forever linger. At this time of year, our minds take us back. What does Mother's Day evoke? I find myself thinking about what my own mom taught me about motherhood. She was very human and not perfect, but what she showed and told me about being a mother, I carry with me still. Decisions big and small in my daughter's lives, I often listen to my mom's voice inside my head, and her wisdom guides me. She had shrewd insights and such practical, sound judgment around many, many things. Experience had taught her a multitude. She had 5 children, so she had seen it all. Education was hugely important to her. She wanted us to thrive in school, and she ensured we had everything we needed to succeed. I remember going to the local bookshop with her, book list in hand, before the start of every new school year in September. She would inspect the secondhand books before we chose one, wanting to get a good, sturdy copy of each, the one that had best survived the first pair of hands. She covered each book in heavy brown paper, our names written across the front, to protect them from wear and tear during the months ahead. A strong pair of black leather shoes were an investment at this time of the year, too, to round out our school uniforms. Sensible and practical, nothing cheap and flimsy that would fall apart by Christmas. We didn't have a lot of money, but we never wanted for anything, especially related to school. If sacrifices had to be made elsewhere, so be it. The money would always be made available for our education. Homework was expected to be done with the utmost diligence, and she would regularly help my sisters and I with this, especially in our early school years. I can still hear her spelling ENCYCLOPEDIA aloud in my head. Repetition and practice were the key. I do the same thing with my own girls, reciting their spelling and their times tables. If something had to be done, no matter how arduous or unappealing, my mom ensured it was. Antibiotics had to be finished. She took the doctor's good advice to heart and always administered the full course of medicine, even when symptoms had ended. She didn't allow complacency or laziness to stand in the way of sensible advice. When she was sick with cancer at the end of her life and her doctor recommended drinking plenty of water to counteract the side effects of her medicine, she filled up her jug every morning and set it beside her bed, ready for the day ahead. It wasn't something she wanted to do, but it was the right thing to do. She was already gone when my babies were born. But so much of her advice and wisdom about taking care of little infants came back to me in those early weeks and months. Things I hadn't even remembered learning, but that had somehow stuck. Make sure to keep the nipple of the bottle full of milk when you're feeding the baby. You don't want them sucking in extra air and getting even more gassy. And speaking of gas, when their tiny mouths start to twitch upwards at the side in a kind of split-second smile, their bellies are probably full of wind. Put them right up on your shoulder and rub their backs until you hear those gorgeous little burps come out. They may look sleepy, but it's more likely to be a gassy coma. When I think of my mom every day, but especially Mothering Sunday, I think of her hard work, her determination, and her sacrifices. She taught me that mothering isn't about getting, but giving. I try to follow her example with my own children, and I hope I can model some of those behaviors for them to pass on to their own kids in turn.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear the rest of the story.
Join a sisterhood of those who will see you. We invite you to a 4-day healing retreat. The Journey, Healing the Wounds of Mother Loss One Step at a Time, is a residential retreat focusing on mother loss and its effect on your life, how her absence shapes your identity, influences your style of mothering and relationships, how your grief surfaces throughout your lifetime, and how you experience living beyond your mother's final years. You are worthy of healing and support, and the time is now. You will have excuses of "I'm too busy" and a million reasons of why not to go. Push those aside and give yourself a gift of renewal. For more information and to register, look for the Journey Retreat on our website, motherlessdaughtersministry.com.
Now, before we go, let's hear some reflections from our podcast administrator, Sarah Lynn Wells. There's something quietly powerful about acknowledging what Mother's Day really feels like for those who carry loss. Listening to our ministry members' story, what stands out most is the honesty, the refusal to pretend that this day is easy. Because for many women, Mother's Day isn't just a celebration. It's a reminder of absence, of what was lost, or maybe even what was never fully there to begin with. And that kind of grief can feel isolating. But for motherless daughters, it is also a beautiful reminder that you are not alone. It's what our ministry is built on, walking alongside women who've lost or missed the nurturing care of a mother, and helping them move toward healing and freedom. That's powerful because it shifts the narrative. It says your story isn't over just because something foundational is missing. What really resonates is the idea that grief doesn't have a timeline. Mother's Day can reopen wounds, whether the loss was recent or decades ago. And that's something even broader grief communities affirm, that this day can bring a, quote, resurgence of grief, unquote, in unexpected ways. So instead of rushing past the pain, maybe the invitation is to sit with it, but not alone. Because Scripture reminds us of something deeply comforting. Quote, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit," unquote. From Psalm 34:18. That verse doesn't say fixes immediately. It says close. And sometimes closeness is exactly what we need most. Another truth that shines through this post is that being motherless doesn't always mean someone has passed away. It can mean emotional absence, distance, broken relationships, and that kind of grief is often harder to explain because there isn't always a clear moment people recognize as loss. But God sees it, and even more than that, He steps into that space. Isaiah 66:13 says, quote, As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you, unquote. Think about that. God doesn't just comfort us in general. He uses the very image of a mother's care. For those who didn't receive that fully, that promise becomes even more sacred. What I also love is how this ministry emphasizes healing as a journey, not a destination. That takes pressure off. You don't have to, quote, arrive, unquote, at being okay. You're allowed to be still in the process. And healing can look like small things. Remembering, honoring, creating new traditions, or simply making space for your emotions without guilt. Even choosing to rest on Mother's Day can be an act of healing. There's a song that ties beautifully into this message, entitled You Say, by Lauren Daigle. One line says, quote, I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough, unquote. For someone navigating mother loss, those internal voices can be loud, questions of worth, identity, belonging. But the chorus reminds us that identity isn't defined by what we lost, but by what God says about us. That we are held, seen, loved. So if I could sum up a response to this post, it would be this. Mother's Day doesn't have to look one way. For some, it's joy. For others, it's grief. For many, it's both at the same time. And all those experiences are valid. But in the middle of it all, there's an unchanging truth. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. And your story still carries purpose, even here, even now.
Thank you for joining us here at Motherless Daughters Ministry. If you need more nurturing words, we encourage you to have a listen to other episodes of this podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe or follow button so you can join us again next time.